Hello, 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 Stampers. Hi, Yvonne. Thank you guys for joining me for another evening of casing the catalog. You guys, it is Thursday, October 6th. I'm a little bit late. Of course, technology is my issue. I'm going to work on that. But again, thanks for joining me this evening. Before we get started on casing the catalog, guys, just for your edification, if you're going to shop with me tonight, I'm going to show this a little bit. The hostess code description box, all of the products that I'll be using tonight or in creating the cards. Excuse me one second. All righty. Let's get started and we will have conversation as we continue to move through making this card. We are casing tonight the Best Witches stamp set, and this can be found on page 55 of the annual catalog. It is item number 159860. It is $21 in the stamp set, and there's 7. It's a cling mounted stamp set, and there's 7 stamps in the bundle. There is no coordinating dies for this, so if you're going to stamp anything, and it's going to have to be fussy cut out. So I went ahead and did a lot of the prep work and fussy cut, excuse me, so you don't have to watch me do the fussy cutting tonight. All right, so let's get started. Let me show you which cards or which projects we're going to work on tonight. We are definitely going to work on this one. This is a card. Everything else in the catalog is like a treat bag or something like that. I don't do that kind of stuff, but I'm gonna take the project and I'm gonna turn this into a card. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I may, if we have time, I'll do 2 of them, but more than likely I'll do one and then the other. Okay, so let's get started, and we're going to get started with the very first image right here. And on this one, let me tell you what I'm seeing and what I don't have. So we have a piece of, this is pear pizzazz, it looks like to me. This is from the black and white design, designs 12 by 12 designer series. That is item number 159861. The treat bags, if you wanted to make them treat bags, they're item number, the stars and stars treat bags, that's this one, 159833. And then this is from the mini pocket envelope dies, okay? And that item is 159167. Again, I don't have either the treat bags or the dies, so I'm gonna make these into cards for tonight, okay? All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I am Caron Bailey. I am your independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. I have been a demonstrator with Stampin' Up for over 7 years. Again, I am loving my Stampin' Up journey, and I'm happy to have you along with me tonight. Don't take a moment, please, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this video and hit the notification bell to make sure that you are notified when I go live for future videos. All right, well, let's get started. Let me put this guy out of the way. And we're going to start on the first card first. The main card, I should say, not the first card. But what I see in there, of course, we have a piece of designer series, this is Pear Pizzazz cardstock. And this is a standard A2 size cardstock, card base. And this is 5.5 by 8.5. And we're going to fold and burnish this at fold and burnish at the 4 1/4, and we're going to have this be a landscape card. Okay, all righty, we can put this aside, and then we are going to cut the what did I just do that paper right here, the argyle pattern from the black and white. That looks to me to be a little bit, maybe about half the width of the card base. So this is 4 1/4 right here, right? So I think a half of it will be 2 1/8. So I'm going to trim a piece of the card base to be half, which will be 2 1/8. Okay. So it'll be 2 1/8 by 5 1/4. Everybody have a good week so far? I've had a very interesting week. I'll tell you about it sometime. Not today, but I'll tell you about it sometime. I had a very interesting week. World Card Making Day was awesome. Did everybody have a good World Card Making Day? Did you make some projects? Yeah, 2 1/4, 2 1/8, and 2 1/8 is 4 1/4, right? Yeah. So let's send that to 2 1/8. Put it aside. We already know from the catalog that it's going to go right here. I should have trimmed it a little bit. Let's see if the other side is bigger. I did 2 1/8, but let's go with it. We already cut it at 2 1/8. Let's just leave it at that. Okay. Again, I don't have measurements for any of these things, so I'm just going by what I see and making it my own. All right, you guys, let me just tell you guys what's coming up. If you're not aware, tomorrow on Sunday is our monthly roll of the die. That's where myself and several of my other demonstrator friends, typically 2 or 3 of us, get together. And from the elements that we rolled at the end of the last roll of the die, we get to create projects. You guys, I've already made my sample. I'm excited. You did? Oh, you just watched some other people make cards. Did you get to make any, Yvonne? All right, so we did this. So we can put this aside. All right. Now we're going to need a piece of cardstock, basic white. And that is going to be, I think I'm going to stamp first and then color it and then trim to what the size that I think it needs to be. All right, so we're going to color with some blends here. All right, so let's get a piece of basic white. Cardstock. And we are just going to grab our let's see, I'm going to buy a VersaFine Clear. And we're going to do a little bit of our embossing buddy. You guys know why we use the embossing buddy, right? Our fingers have a little bit of oils and stuff, and so we want to make sure that when we add the embossing powder, that it's not sticking to anything other than what we need for the embossing powder to. You weren't prepared. All right, so put it in your calendar now. World Card Making Day 2023 is the first Saturday in October. Okay. And I'm already starting to plan what I'm going to do for next year. Going to be a little bit bigger than what I did this year. I'm going to be a little bit more prepared. Wasn't as prepared this year for World Card Making Day. So anyway, so that's what we're going to do. The image has that, and it has the image of the frog. All right, so let's get that stamped out. I know I have my blocks somewhere. See, that's what I tell you guys. The more I try to be prepared for y'all, the less prepared I am. All right. I use the grid lines to the utmost in a lot of what I do when my stamping, because I just really have issues lining things up, making sure that they're straight. So if I'm sure that the cardstock is already lined up, then it's just a matter of making sure that everything else is straight. Okay, so we're going to put the little witch right there. And then the image has the frog, which we're going to stamp in a little bit. Okay, let's put her aside. I'm trying to get better with my stamping process. Hey, Michelle, how are you? Did you have a good week? I'm trying to get a little bit better with my stamping process. I try to make sure, typically my stamping style is I'm a little bit unorganized. Maybe you couldn't tell that, but I'm trying to make sure that as I use something, I put it away, so that I remain a little bit more organized, okay? Then we're gonna stamp our little frog friend. Oh, we can put the frog right there. Let's put him on this smaller block right there. That way we don't. Were you off this week? Are you feeling better? All right, and so from the image, let's see. The frog is pretty close to the fire pot, so I'm gonna pull this out of frame just a tad so I can take a look over it. There we go. I think that's about right. All right, there we go. Perfect. All right, so I'm gonna add a little bit of clear embossing powder. Get that all stamped down, and then we're gonna color it with Stampin' Blends. All righty. Like I said, the more I try to be prepared for y'all, the less prepared I feel. Let's put this over here. Grab a piece of scrap paper. Grab our little trusty spoon. We're just gonna add our embossing powder. Awesome, I'm glad you're feeling better. So anybody have plans for the weekend? I'm gonna be meeting up with a couple of my girlfriends that I haven't seen in a long time. We're gonna have a girlfriend's brunch. And then what else am I gonna do? I'm gonna meet with my sister, and we're gonna have a movie date. My sister and I, we're just gonna hang out. So I'm excited about that. All right, so pardon the noise, we're gonna heat set. All right, we are heat set. Now we're gonna get ready to color. Now tonight's projects involve a lot of coloring, you guys. So I'm gonna color, I'm gonna try to do a very good job, not try to, I'm gonna do a good job, but I'm gonna try to get through the coloring a little fast, okay? Let's see. The hat is black, so we need a Stampin' Blends combo. We're gonna need the basic black, light and dark. I know I do. I love to emboss. I do. I do. It's my thing. All right, so we're gonna start. Like I told you guys, when I color, I like to start with the light and then I move in with the dark. So I'm gonna go with the light and I put the light all over. Oh, something's wrong with my tip. I hate that. All right, so I'm gonna end up starting with the bullet tip, which means it'll probably take a little bit longer. At least for my edges and my corners anyway. Then I can go in. Oops, that's not there. I like heat embossing for my, when I'm starting to color, whether I'm watercoloring or whatever it is I'm doing. I find that the texture of the additional texture in the embossing powder, it just gives a little bit more not texture, but like you can't go out of the lines, I guess is what I'm saying. At least that's for me. I find that I don't go out of the lines as much. The embossing powder gives the lines a little bit of definition, so the marker tends to bump up against it for me. And so because it does that, I tend not to go outside of the lines when I'm coloring, I guess is what I'm trying to say with that. All right, so where am I going to add a little bit of highlight? I'm going to highlight around the belt buckle or the hat band. And we're going to say that the sun is coming from this side, even though it's supposed to be a moonlight. Well, it's misty moonlight, right? So if the sun is coming this way, right, that means this side is going to catch a lot of the light. And so it's a little bit darker on this side. So if I'm going to highlight, I'm going to do most of the darkness coming from this side, and this side is going to be lighter. That's the trick that I learned about coloring, is you have to kind of have in your mind, where is the light coming from? And then that kind of helps you with where you're highlighting and shading and how you're doing that, okay? Okay. And then we can go back in with the light. I want to use that to blend it out just a little bit. Oops. Like so. And then that will be the end of that. Now her cape is also black, so we're going to go in with the cape, make the cape black. We're going to color all of our black pieces or images while we have the black out. And then the cauldron is black. All right. So let's get the cauldron going. I love to emboss. What's your favorite technique? I think you like watercoloring, right, Michelle? What's your favorite technique, Yvonne? Okay. What else is going to be black? All right, that's it. I think that's her feet. So we're not going to make her feet black. All right, that's good. So now we're going to go back in with the dark and we're going to add some highlight. Okay, so if the sun is coming this way, right? The underside of her cape isn't getting any sun. So that's where you're going to have a little elements of darkness. It's going to be darker under there. And again, the sun is coming this way. So the top half is going to be lighter. And the bottom half is going to be darker. So that's how I'm going to blend. I'm going to blend upward. And it doesn't need a lot of blending. Why? Because one, it's black, but also because it's a little bit of a smaller space. Okay. The best. Oh, wow. Okay. I know you like, I know you said you've liked watercoloring, but wow, the best. Okay. You know, I'm going to do a little bit of watercoloring tonight, right? That which cannot defeat you only makes you stronger, right? So I'm going to learn to like some watercoloring. Oh, wait, I did the wrong thing. That's why. That's why. All righty. So what I'm going to do next is, I think it's Rich Raspberry or Blackberry Bliss, I think is what I'm going to use for her hat and her outfit. And so let me pull those. And again, I start with the light. And move into the dark. Sometimes when I'm coloring, especially if it has like a bullet tip and the brush tip, I tend to like outline where I'm going. That way, if my brush gets a little wider than I need for it to be, then I'm only working within a confined space, if that makes any sense, what I just said. You know, like when you're coloring with crayons or anything else, you tend to do the outline with the narrowest piece, I guess is what I'm saying. And then you go in with the brush tip and do your coloring. That way you can stay as close to in the lines as you possibly can. Okay, you like making watercolor backgrounds. That's good. I think I need to do a whole segment on watercolor backgrounds or watercoloring, period. That's not my forte. And you know what they say? I said it before. What doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. There you go. Make sure I get the phrase right, right? What doesn't kill you will only make you stronger. All right. Okay. And here we go. To show a little bit, we're going to keep just the dark down here. Here we go. All right. We are going to use our, I think it's Daffodil Delight for her headband. All Halloween colors. The purples, the different oranges, the yellows. Okay. Then we're going to go on and I'm going to make the flame. I'm going to start with the Daffodil Delight. The light, right? Hope this works. Because when I do the flame, I want to be able to see some different colors going on in there. It may be too, the color may be a little, what's it called? I mean, the space may be a little small, so being able to get the kind of color that I want to go through might be a little difficult because it's a tiny, narrow space. And what I just used was pumpkin pie. blend out. Blend out. Blend out. Just trying to see if we can get different variations in the tone of the flame. Okay, so our flame is done. Then we are going to use, let's see. I'm looking for my smoky slate blends. I think this is them. Should have just pulled them all out, right? And let's see. Again, I want the logs, right? They've been burning embers, right? You have to have fire, right? So it's gonna be a little red. So I'm gonna put a little red in there. And I'm gonna go in with my smoky slate light. I don't think that quite worked the way I thought it was gonna work, but it is what it is. Dark. You can see a little bit of undertones in the reds there. And then, let's see. I'm gonna do her hair. For her hair, ooh, let's make the witch a redhead. All right. Gonna go with the sweet sorbet for her hair. She's got a little wisp of hair right there, little wisp of hair right there. That's her ear, and that's the rest of her hair. Just a little hair right there. Then I'm gonna head in with the dark. Now, typically when you're coloring, especially with alcohol markers, you've got to give them a little bit of time in between to set, and then you can add the color. We have the other stuff to color, so I'm not taking the time that I would normally to make sure that would be done. But typically you would definitely add, have a little bit of time in between layers. She is definitely a redhead. Hocus Pocus, which one was the redhead? Bette Midler's character, right? Was the redhead? And then we're gonna give her a little bit of skin tone color, and we want her to be, I'm gonna go with the SU 900, or where's my 900? That's not my 900. Where's my 900? Yeah, there it is. I'm gonna go with the 900. Now these are the neutrals. I think it's naturals, right? It's naturals or neutrals, the skin tone colors that Stampin' Up! Came out with. I'm gonna flip it to the her hands. Can't forget the hands. Okay, let that dry just a tad. A modern witch. And then on the darker, this is where we're going to cast our highlights. Okay, so you realize, let me tell you what my thought process is, just in case you're not aware. So the brim of the hat is covering her face, right? So under there is where there is no light per se, right? So that's got to be darker. And again, remember the sun is coming from this way. So the light's hitting on that side, not so much on that side. And so this is where we're going to have a lot of our shadows. Okay. Now, before I go ahead with blending it out, I'm going to go in with a little bit of pink. And I don't want like a flirty flamingo deep pink. So I'm going to go in with oh, this is an old one, pink pirouette. But I think this is it's a pink pirouette. Okay. And we're going to give her cheeks just a little bit of pink. Okay. That's not enough pink. Should have used something a little bit pinker, which we can still do. Maybe, what is this one? Okay, we're going to go in and do a little bit of pink, more pink here. All right, that's a little bit deeper in the pink. Okay. And then we're going to go in with the 900 and blend it all out. Good Lord, chica. I'm like, why is that so dark? Picked up the wrong one. All righty. Well, we'll just cast our shadow a little bit further than we wanted. That's all. And so that their face is not so, cheeks are not so pink. I'm just going to do that. Okay. And here we go. We're done with coloring our witch. Our frog is going to be green, and we are going to color him with our, what color are we going to do our froggy woggy? Michelle, you like parakeet party. So we're going to start with our parakeet party. Although he's going to be a very green frog, a really bright green frog. Okay, so we're going to blend our frog with pear pizzazz, our granny apple green, and our parakeet party. So again, all over with the green, the parakeet party. I think. Then we're going to go in with the dark granny apple green. Wrong side. Like so. His underbelly. Like so. His eyes are going to be darker. And that's how we're going to color him. Okay. Then we're going to blend down, starting with the dark parakeet party. And then with the light. Finish the blending with the light parakeet party. And you see, with those three colors, we have such a depth of color into our frog. All righty. We used a lot of blends tonight, you guys. You wonder, oh no, what is she brewing, right? I don't know. double, is that what it's called? Double, how does it go? Toil and trouble or something like that. Anyway, this is almost done. All righty. I think we're done. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to ground our folks. What does that mean by grounding? See, if you look at the image right now, thank you, Michelle. They're like standing in the air, right? So when I say ground them, it has to make them look like they're standing on terra firma. And in order to do that, you just take a neutral color like a crumb cake, or my go-to at the time was cinnamon cider, smoky slate, Sahara sand, one of those. And you're just going to draw some cast shadows under the objects. Right? So it seems like they are grounded. And I don't do it with any sort of fanciness, no kind of, I just put a line under the images, add a little contrast. Blend over. There we go. All right, our image is colored, y'all. Now we get to trim it down to what we're going to use. I'm going to trim this guy down to, I don't know, let's see. And again, this is why sometimes I do in a color on a bigger image, and then I just trim it down to whatever size I think I want my image to be at. So I'm going to make this a 4-inch wide. All right. Trim a little bit off the ground part. We're going to make this 4 by let's go 4 by 3.5. Okay. So we just made that 4 by 3.5. Okay. So here we are in the process. We have done our coloring. We've already done this part, and we still have the sentiment. I don't have this die, so I don't know what I'm going to do for bats. I might not do bats at all, just because I don't have it. Okay. And so I'm going to put this right here. No dimensionals on this part. Let me make sure this is even. There you go. Thank you so much. Bubble, bubble, toil and trouble. Oh, Michelle said it's double, double. Oh, who's right? Double, double, or bubble, bubble? Hmm. So I don't really, in my circle of friends, I don't have a lot of kids. My nephew, my brother's son, is about the only person I have that would probably appreciate a Halloween card. Everybody else is so grown. So this is just a holiday, for lack of a better, that I don't celebrate it. I don't trick or treat. I don't do any of that stuff. It's not, being from the Caribbean, which is where I'm from, it's just was not a big holiday, I guess, for lack of a better term. All right, guys, I don't like, you'll find that about me. And I know I already put that on there, but I don't like my white, the sky to look so stark. I don't like that at all. So I'm going to go in with a blending brush and hope I can do it without making a mess. And just add a little bit of color to the sky. I just don't like it to be so stark. You know what I mean? If we're saying it's the night sky and she's out in the air, How many times do you see a white sky? There's a little tinge of blue in there, or a little tinge of green or something. Ooh. Oh, so you're both right. Yvonne says double is from Shakespeare and bubble is from the stamp set. So Yvonne, what's the, I don't want to say the history, but what's the deal with the Shakespeare? When did that come into play? Double, double, toil and trouble. What do I need to do now? I need to do my sentiment. All right, so my sentiment is on black cardstock. I don't know. Do I have any scrap? Oh. None that is readily available. Let me grab a piece of black cardstock. Stamp our sentiment. To trim a little piece of it off. Oops. Ah. All right, so I wasn't an English major, okay? So sue me. Ha ha ha. I just cut a strip that is 1 inch wide. And I'm not going to trim it until I put my sentiment on. That way, again, it's easier to trim what you need. It's easier to trim down to the size that you need than to trim it and have it be too small. Okay. Grab my Versamark. I'm going to put that in white embossing powder. And we are almost done with card number 1. I haven't figured out my embellishments yet, you guys, because I don't have the bats. That's in another bundle, I think, but because I really don't do a lot of Halloween cards, I didn't invest in that. So I don't have that stamp set. So I don't have an answer for the bats. Michelle, if you have any that you know of that you can think of, definitely clue me in. Or Yvonne, if you know as well. Okay. And then we need the white embossing powder. Heat emboss this, and then we are done with this. Okay, we're gonna trim that off. So it's a 1 inch by 2.5 inch strip is what I just cut, okay? So if you're looking at measurements, that's what I did, a 1 inch by 2.5 inch strip. And I'm going to use, I think this is retired, the Banner's Pick-a-Punch. And I'm gonna use this side to banner my sentiment. Now I typically tend to put everything facing down, that way I can see, line it up on the inside, and hope I'm not stamping the sentiment off. Ha ha ha. right? Which I didn't. Do the same thing on the other side. Line it up. There, I've bannered my sentiment. All right, Michelle, any thoughts for me on the witches or the bats? I'm sorry. Let me see. Maybe what you guys did you guys notice that under here there's that washi tape right here? So I'm gonna add that washi tape. I'm gonna add a strip right here. Actually, I'm gonna add all three. This, maybe all four. This is one of the new items in the catalog, the mini. And I haven't used it except for the copper one. So, which is why, of course, I can't find the ends now. So this is how I try to find the end, the edge. Okay, there it is, right there. Right there. And I'm actually going to use all of them now that I think about it. Since I don't have the bats, I'm going to use them all. Right? Man, I wish I'd started these before. It's hard to find them. Enter your take a pick tool. If anybody can find it, the take a pick tool can find it. Man, this is hard to find. How about a spider? Now, Yvonne, you know I can't draw, right? No way, shape, or form would I even begin to know how to draw a spider. Do you know how? Man, I can't find there we go. I'm going to use that. Here we go. I make my own then. Oh, I found it though. All right. And we're going to put this purple piece down at the bottom. Like so. And then we're going to put the black at the top. Michelle, how many dimensionals you think I'm going to use on the sentiment? You're my guessing person. Oh, there it is. Found it. I found it. Okay. And I'm just going to put this piece at the top. Like so. A circle with lines for legs. Okay, let's see. A circle with lines for legs. That looks horrible. I would never do that. That's horrible. I just spend way too much time to put anything that looks like that on my card. You were close, Michelle. Answer 6. Answer was 6. All righty. And I didn't make them long enough. Oh. There we go. Okay. So with the exception of our bats, like the sun. Huh. Oh. Like the sun? Like that? I don't like any of those. There will be no bats or rats or anything like that. We're done with this one, except for our cards inside. Card number 1 is done. I think we did a pretty good job casing this guy right here. Wait a minute. I see a little something going on in here. I see a little bit of shading going on in there. All right. Fill the circle, make it smaller. Okay, I'll practice, and if I get it, then I'll add it later. But for now, that's a no-go. I just spent too much time on this card for it to go south. Okay, card number 1 is done. All right, so in the interest of time, you guys, like I said, there are no dies for the next one. This is all fussy cut, so I went ahead and with the magic of television, I fussy cut it already. And so we're just gonna get to coloring and get this girl done. So we're gonna color her dress in Pear Pizzazz because that's what that seems like to me. That's Granny Apple Green. Where's my Pear Pizzazz? That's Old Olive. And I'm breaking out all of my blends tonight. Tonight is a coloring night. It's probably what I should have called it, a coloring night. Oh, I guess I don't have Pear Pizzazz. What? Huh. I thought I had Pear Pizzazz. Okay. No problem. We're going to stick with our Granny Apple Green theme then and go with that. So what's that one thing you're going to do tomorrow? I know the weekend's getting ready to start. Do you have any plans for anything for the weekend? It's really hard to teach art from afar. It certainly is. It certainly is. All right, I'm going to switch to the brush tip. Let that dry for a second. I'm going to go in with the Old Olive for my initial highlights. And again, just following the artist's guides. That's where I'm going to add some highlights, some shading. Like so. Then I'm going to go back in with the the dark granny apple green to blend that out. Ah, that didn't work out the way I thought it was going to work out. It did not. I'm going to forget that. Just blend the granny apple green right out. No such thing as a mistake. You just make it work. Blend it out. There you go. All right, so while I'm coloring, you guys, let me tell you about a couple of things that's going on with Stampin' Up! So that you are in the know. 4th of October, if you were able to join us for the World Card Making Day, Stampin' Up! I posted it on my in my newsletter and on my page on Facebook. Demonstrators are able to pre-order a set that is going to be coming available in the January to June mini catalog, and I can't remember the name of it. What is it called? I had it written in my notes somewhere, and of course I don't have my notes. Yes, I do take notes. I have notes somewhere around here. I try to remember things to tell you guys. What is the name of that set? I know, right? I didn't realize the dark granny apple green would be so dark, but it was. So I think I recovered. I hope I did. But you know what? The other thing you can do, like I said, there's no mistakes, okay? So there's flitting florets. Thank you so much. So what if you have something like this, right? Where I went in with a color that was a lot darker than I wanted to. Don't forget, you always have the color lifter that you can go in with to help to take some of that darkness out and lighten it up just a tad if that was an error that you think you made, okay? So let me show you what that's going to look like if we take that in right there. You see how it's kind of lightening that up a little bit? So again, nothing is a mistake. It can be fixed, okay? That's the one rule in card making that I think I've learned, is that nothing is a mistake. All right, I'm going to highlight with the dark smoky slate. All right, this piece is under the collar, so that's going to be dark. This is under the armpit-ish, so it's going to be dark. This is all going to be behind, so that's going to be dark. Shadowed by her dress, under the armpits, and then you can see where it needs to be blended out from there. All right, so as I was saying, it is called Flitting Florets. It's going to be available for pre-order for demonstrators for the entire month of October, and will be available for our customers in November. I ordered mine already, so I will be getting mine pretty soon, and so you should start seeing that. I'll probably do a couple of cards from it, so you can see what the set looks like. It is an entire collection. It includes designer series paper and some elements, but those elements will only be available in the month of. All right, so I think it's crumb cake, is it? For her hat. Gonna go in with the light crumb cake all over. And again, I kind of outline with the color so that when I go in with the bigger tip, I don't have to I've already drawn my line, so I know where I need to stay within the boundaries of. Okay. On the face, that's here. Then I'm gonna go in with the brush tip to blend it out, to color it out. Okay, now, based on the theory of what I've been saying and how I'm coloring this, right? If I want to say that the under brim of the hat, that's getting no light at all, right? So all of this is going to be dark. All of this is going to be dark and blend it out that way. Okay. And then I'm just going to frame the rest of it to show a little bit of contrast. Now, when you're blending, it's important that you kind of go over where the lines will cross, so that that seam, that where that edge right here, you kind of blend that out to soften it so it doesn't look so, I don't know what the word I'm looking at, so jagged. So you might want to go over that a couple of times to even it out. Okay, so we're done with that. We've got our hair to do, and we've got her hat to do. Not the hat. What is that color? What is that color? What does that color look like? Oh. I can't figure this color out right here. I cannot figure that color out. So I'm gonna do my own thing. How about, let's go in with gray granite. Okay. And then while that's drying, we're gonna go back in with the crumb cake for the broom. Need that tip right here. We still got the face to color. The skin and the hair. Perfect. All right, the hair looks a little bit on the red side to me, or the darker brown. I don't know. I'm gonna go in with, I don't know, it's retired, but it's one of my favorite colors. So I'm gonna give her some cinnamon cider hair. I know it's retired. And everybody says you shouldn't use retired colors, but I think it's perfect for her hair. Don't you think it's perfect for her hair? I think so. All right, what other announcements do I have for you guys? Oh yeah, the starter kit. If you're going to join Stampin' Up this week, there's a promotion that's going on with Stampin' Up this month. I would love to have you join my team. And this month, if you join Stampin' Up! From now until the end of the month, you can sign up. Typically, signing up for Stampin' Up!, you get 100, what is it? You get, oh my gosh, I can't think now. Good Lord, it's a long day. You get $125 worth of product for $99, I think is what it is. My mind is a blank, y'all. And then, but for the month of October, when you join Stampin' Up!, you can get, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. My entire concentration is shot there. I don't know why. I can't remember these things. And my notes are actually buried under everything, which is why I'm not referring to my notes. They're all buried somewhere. And I'd rather tell you the truth than to, how about the birthday card kit or whatever it's called? Oh, thank you so much. Yes. The birthday organizer, that's the other thing that's coming out too. If you joined us on World Card Making Day, you would have seen that also available is what we call the World Card Making, the birthday organizer. And the birthday organizer it's a kit, it has pockets. For those of us who sometimes tend to forget other people's birthdays, or we have a lot of birthdays that we need to keep track of, it's an easy and interesting way to write down in the respective months. It has pockets so that when you make cards for that month, you can store them in that pocket. So it's easier to organize them. Thank you so much, Michelle, for sending. So back to joining Stampin' Up!, becoming a member, you will get for the month, if you sign up, $155 worth of products for $99. You guys, you cannot beat that, okay? And not only do you get $155 worth of product, you get free shipping because there's no shipping cost to that, okay? I should say shipping is included. All right. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel to stay, and click the notification bell to stay abreast of when I go live on videos. I'm thinking about a couple of new segments that I'm going to start on the channel. I thought that I'm thinking about those types of things that when I first started stamping that I would love to have known. So I'm going to start a Basics 101, Stamping 101 segment or channel. And that's going to have tips, tricks for the beginning stamper. You know, one of the first things when I was starting, I didn't know how to cut paper. What the heck was that all about? So I'm going to tell you how to use your trimmers, how to cut. I'm going to talk about things like what am I talking about here? Inks, the types of inks that you should use, when you should use them, why you should use them. Talk about papers, how to cut your paper. Talk about embossing. How do you emboss? Why do you emboss? That kind of thing. Not necessarily the science, although I'm kind of like the science behind the thing. So this is done. So what I saw on one of them, this is also from the black and white. And if you notice, this is what was used to create this card right here, this treat mini pocket envelope. But I'm going to make a card out of it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this. And I think I'm going to trim it to maybe a 3x5. I'm going to start with I'm going to leave it at 3x5. Okay, first of all, Let's move all of these aside. Yes, different types of adhesives and glues and things of that nature. I'm definitely going to do. So I'm definitely going to try to break it down for the basics, for things that, you know, things that I would have wanted to know back when I was first starting as a stamper. All right, so I'm going to go 3 by 5. 3 and yeah, let's go 3 3/4. Yeah, 3 3/4 by 5. The hardest part or the longest part is the stamping or the coloring. And we're done with that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with Daffodil Delight, if I can find it. I hate when I take my inks out for something and then don't remember to put them back. So change in plan, I'm going with Crushed Curry because it's right there. I'm going to go in with my, I have a blending brush for yellows. And then all I did on this one, we are just going to add a little bit. And this is why you don't start on your cardstock right there, okay? That's precisely why. And then we're going to plop her right there. And we're going to strategically place our little witch so that she covers our little boo-boo right there. And I'm going to make her stand up. By stand up, I mean put her on dimensionals. So that I don't put a whole bunch. I'm just going to cut a piece of the sheet. What's another thing that you need to know, Yvonne? I missed that. What did I say that another thing that you need to know? Okay. And then I'm just going to plop her. Like I said, we're going to have her cover our little boo-boo right there. Like so. And then we need a sentiment, our sentiment. And then we'll be done and we can go ahead and mount this card where we need for it to be mounted. I'm going to put it on, what color cardstock do I have out? This is how I do things sometimes, you guys. This is how I decide on what to do. It's all about what's out and available and at my fingertips. If I didn't already pre-cut something, and that's how I do it because, not that. Not that. This might work. What do you think? That might work. I think I'm going to do that one. And again, we're going to end up having to heat emboss our sentiment. We're going to emboss it in white. Right. Yes. Definitely a good tip not to start on your cardstock when you're blending. You can avoid a lot of mistakes that way. But the trick about everything in card making though is, I don't want to say everything is not a mistake. In most cases, I won't say in all cases, but in most cases, everything can be fixed. One way, shape, or the other, it can be fixed. Okay, whether it's by turning your cardstock over, as paper have two sides, whether it's using the eraser or another tool to blend out the ink, everything can be corrected or fixed in some way, shape, or form. All right, give me 2 seconds. Let me heat emboss this. Okay. And then we are just going to trim this guy down to size. Okay. When I say trim it down to size, I don't want this to be so, ooh, thought. This is the classic label punch. I think it's too big for this. But let's see. Ah, it's like the perfect size, you guys. Perfect, perfect. You see that? I'm just trying to line it up. And then we're going to put our sentiment right about here. Now, because we popped the image that way, what we're going to end up having to do to make sure it's not lopsided is we're going to put a dimensional on the left side of the image. Make sure we're doing it the right way. See, that's the side we want the dimensional on. Oh, it needs to be a small one. Needs to be a mini. Yeah, sometimes you just got to take a chance. You know, I just took a shot and I hoped it worked. So we're going to put a dimensional on that side and then regular adhesive on this side. I think I need to double up on and by double up, that's all I mean is just put another dimensional on there. And that'll account for the height, right? And then we're going to put some regular adhesive on the other side, like so. Now we're going to put this in place like so. Okay. Almost done, you guys. All I'm going to do now is I am going to cut our 3 by 5, a 3 3/4 by 5 inch piece of cardstock. I'm going to mat it on a layer that is 4 by 5 1/4. I'm gonna mat this on piece of black, like so. And again, one of the good things about the annual catalog, you guys, is that you can use it for inspiration, okay? You may not have the treat bags, you may not have the dies. So what I did was I took the layout, took the coloring, I took everything that was in the image that the artist did, and I made it into a card instead of making it a treat bag. So you can still make items that are in the catalog if you don't have the exact items. Use what you have. Okay. And then we're going to mount this on a piece of cardstock. Basic white. And our card will be finished. Like so. And if I ever figure out how to make bats, rats, and or bat rats or spiders, I'll add those to this cards as well. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. You guys, we have created and I think effectively case of the annual catalog, page 55, the Best Witches stamp set, by creating our 2 projects for tonight. What do you think? That's that guy, and that's the other. I think we did a great job. All right, you guys, so the next thing that we're going to do, don't forget to join us on Sunday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, where we go live on YouTube for our roll of the die. I believe this time it's just Michelle and I. Catty has another commitment, so it is probably going to be just Michelle and I on Sunday. And you're so welcome, Yvonne. And the elements, I think, refresh my memory, it's monochromatic, must use the neutrals, must be friendship, must, oh my gosh, punches, you must use punches, and blending. Those are the 5 elements that we have to use to create our cards on Sunday. You guys join us on Sunday again at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time to see what Michelle and I make with those elements. Until Sunday, guys, have a great night, stay safe, and have a great weekend if I don't talk to you before. Godspeed, God bless, happy stamping.